What if I told you that the person you think you are is only half of the truth? That beneath the surface of your consciousness, there exists another you, a darker, rawer, and far more powerful version of yourself. This is the shadow self, a concept introduced by the Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung. It's the side of you that holds everything you've repressed, your fears, your hidden desires, your untapped potential. Society, culture, and even your own mind have conditioned you to ignore this part of yourself, convincing you that it's dangerous, shameful, or unacceptable. But what if the exact thing you've been running from is the key to unlocking your greatest strengths? What if facing your shadow is the secret to discovering who you truly are and what your purpose in life is? Jung famously said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." Are you brave enough to confront your darkness? Because in doing so, you might just find your greatest source of power. 2. What is the shadow self? Carl Jung believed that every person has a conscious self, which is the part of us we are aware of and present to the world, and an unconscious self, where all our hidden traits, emotions, and desires reside. Your shadow isn't just one thing, it's made up of negative traits, anger, greed, jealousy, selfishness, traits we are taught to suppress. Positive traits you've denied, creativity, ambition, leadership, sexuality, parts of yourself that were shamed or rejected by others. Unlived potential, dreams you abandoned because they seemed too risky, too ambitious, or because someone told you they weren't possible. The shadow is created early in life. As children we express ourselves freely. If we're angry we cry or scream. If we're happy we laugh without hesitation. If we want something we go for it. But over time, we are conditioned to behave in a way that society deems acceptable. A child who is naturally assertive might be told, "Stop being so bossy," and learns to suppress their leadership skills. A boy who cries easily is told, "Be a man," so he buries his emotions. A girl who speaks her mind is called too much, so she learns to stay quiet. We build a persona, a socially acceptable version of ourselves, while our shadow grows in the background waiting for the moment to break free. Key idea: the parts of yourself that you suppress don't disappear, they control you from the dark. 3. The shadow in everyday life, how it affects you without you knowing. You might think, "I don't have a shadow. I'm a good person." But here's the truth: the shadow is always there, influencing your thoughts, emotions, and actions, often without you realizing it. Signs your shadow is controlling you. Projection: when you dislike something in someone else but it's really a hidden part of yourself. Ever met someone who hates arrogance but deep down craves attention? Or someone who calls others lazy, yet avoids responsibility themselves? That's projection, your shadow hiding in plain sight. Self-sabotage: you hold yourself back from success, relationships, or opportunities because deep down, your shadow is full of self-doubt. You fear rejection so you never take a risk. You desire recognition but tell yourself you don't deserve it. You want a fulfilling career but stay in a safe, unfulfilling job because part of you fears failure. Overreaction to others: when you react strongly to someone's behavior, it's often because they embody a trait you've buried. Why does the confident person annoy you? Maybe because you secretly want to be confident. Why does someone's success make you bitter? Maybe because your shadow knows you're capable of more. Addictions and destructive behaviors: people who don't confront their shadows often turn to distractions. Overworking, social media, alcohol, food, or toxic relationships. Anything to avoid looking inward. Jung warned that ignoring the shadow doesn't make it disappear. Instead, it manifests in destructive ways, as stress, anxiety, failed relationships, or a feeling of deep emptiness. Key idea: your shadow is influencing your life whether you realize it or not. 4. How your shadow holds the key to your purpose. Most people think their purpose in life comes from their strengths, the things they're naturally good at. But Jung believed your greatest potential is hidden in your shadow. Your shadow contains the passions you've been too afraid to pursue, the strengths you've buried because they weren't acceptable, the talents you've ignored because they seemed impractical. Examples of shadow integration leading to purpose. Steve Jobs: his perfectionism, control, and obsession with detail could have made him unbearable. But instead of suppressing those traits, he used them to create Apple. Carl Jung himself: he had deep internal struggles, visions, and fears. Instead of ignoring them, he studied them, and revolutionized psychology. What if the part of you you've been avoiding holds the key to your purpose? Key idea: your shadow isn't your weakness, it's your untapped power. 5. How to integrate your shadow, the path to self-discovery. Jung didn't believe in eliminating the shadow. Instead, he believed in integrating it, bringing the unconscious to light so it no longer controls you. Here's how. Step 1. Self-reflection, identifying your shadow. Ask yourself, what traits do I dislike in others? This may reveal my own hidden qualities. What emotions do I suppress? What dreams have I abandoned out of fear? Step 2. Facing your shadow, owning your darkness. Instead of fighting your shadow, embrace it. If you fear rejection, acknowledge that part of you craves connection. If you envy someone's success, ask yourself what it reveals about your own ambitions. If you struggle with anger, explore where it comes from. Perhaps it's a sign that you need to set boundaries. Step 3. Transforming darkness into strength. The traits you suppress could be your greatest strengths. The emotions you fear could be your deepest wisdom. The parts of you hide could be the missing pieces of your purpose. By integrating your shadow, you don't become a perfect person. You become a whole person. Key idea. The more you accept your shadow, the more control you have over your own life. 6. Final warning. What happens if you ignore your shadow? Jung had a warning for those who refuse to confront their shadow. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. What happens if you don't face your shadow? You live a life that feels incomplete. You never unlock your full potential. You wake up one day and wonder, what if I had been brave enough to be my true self? Most people will hear this and move on, afraid to look too closely at themselves. But if you're still here, you already know this message was meant for you. Carl Jung once said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. So ask yourself, are you really in control of your life? Or is your shadow pulling the strings? This video made you think, don't stop here. Subscribe now, because understanding yourself is the first step to mastering your destiny. Hit like if you're ready to take that first step. And comment below, what's one part of yourself you've been afraid to face? The truth is, growth doesn't happen in comfort. It happens in the unknown. And that's exactly where we're going next. Are you coming?